Alright guys, this is going to be maybe a longer video. I've started filming little fragments of it, but essentially my wife and I are going to do, I don't know how long we'll last. She seems like she's not going to last very long. But we're doing a 2-week potatoes only diet. I've watched a lot of videos on YouTube of people who have successfully done it. There's even a couple of people that have done it for a year at a time. And the reason why you do it, the benefits are, is it is a detox. I know that some people say there's no such thing, but I feel like it does clean your system out though, and it gets your cravings at bay. Anything that you're struggling with as far as your diet goes, it should get it under control because it's basically mono eating. It's just one food source. It's essentially a low-fat, high-carb, vegan type of diet. I'm not going to be adding any oils or any fats to the potatoes. Essentially, potatoes, anywhere from 2 to 5 pounds of potatoes a day per person, and it can be cooked any way that you prefer, except for there's no oil or fat involved, so you can't like deep fry it or fry them on the skillet or anything like that. You could grill them, you could put them in foil and bake them. Can't add butter to them. You can't add sour cream because all those are oil and fat. So you can't put them in olive oil and shake them up and put your spices on it. You can put spices like I'm using Mrs. Dash. I'm using some salt. I'm trying to be sparingly on the salt, but I love salt, and I don't think that potatoes taste good they're pretty bland. So I'm putting spices. We're experimenting with spices. This is day 2 right now that I'm filming this. By the time you watch the video, I'll have filmed segments from every day and just put them all together and edit it out. So I think I'm going to wait until the 15 days is up, and I'll have just little patches that I recorded throughout the whole time. So this is what I'm filming at the beginning of my process. I'm looking forward to having that and see how the results go. It's also to kind of jumpstart weight loss again, because I struggle with weight loss forever. I'm one of those people, I can never get it really under control. I do good, I do bad. And if you're one of those people, look into the potato hack. It's by Steele, and there's several people, celebrities, not famous people. There's tons of people who have done it. I don't think it's harmful at all. I've done a lot of research into it, and if you know me at all based on this channel, I don't just jump into stuff without really researching it. Now, I do a lot of stuff. I do a lot of crazy, maybe even controversial diets, but none of them have really hurt me, except for one. I'm going to have a video later about something that actually hurt me, and I had to stop doing this thing. More to come on that. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'm not going to make the intro too boring, but I've got a lot of potatoes to cook and prep. And that's pretty much what our whole days are like now, is prepping potatoes for the next day's meal. And that's also in the video. You want to do it, you want to prep them on day one and then let them cool overnight in your fridge and then eat them on day 2 because it increases resistant starch, which is a huge part of why you lose weight. So, anyways, I hope you enjoy it. All right, so to start out on the first night, this is what we'll be prepping. It's 20 pounds of regular russet and red potatoes. This is how we're starting our potato journey. Looking forward to it. Going to be a lot of action going on with this oven. Here's what it looks like when you're prepping for your potato meals. Constant cutting on the cutting board, getting them ready. Oven stays on. Cool your potatoes down. Start your new batch. Going to go through these bags like nothing. Yep. Alright, so we boiled potatoes last evening and prepped them and let them cool down and put them in the fridge. So those 2 are mine for work. There's 2 of those containers in that bag. And those 3 are for my wife. That's her meals, each meal. Well, here it is. First one of the day. Alright, I'm going to show you a little hack. I don't know if it's a hack, but it's what I do. For these potatoes, I started boiling them, and when they got to, I need to check them, I just stuck a fork in them, like 2 spots. I went like fork, fork, and it'll create this rift in the skins. And I don't ever peel my potatoes. I just boil them really, really hot, and then I run, this is cold water. Then I'll run cold water in after they're done, and as you can see, it starts to peel itself. So here's one of them. The peeling's essentially just falling right off of this one. So I'm not saying you don't have to eat the skins. I prefer to not. So the skins will pretty much, if you'll run cold water in, after you stabbed them will create the rift for it. And then you run some cold water in, you can almost just, look at that, just pull back on it. And it's pretty much peeling itself. Doesn't take long, just a little bit of extra time. I have a peeler, I never use it. I don't need to. Of course, if you're going to do chips or other styles of potato instead of just boil them, I'm going to mash these. I'm going to put these in there, mash them up real good, and have like a big pile of mashed potatoes going on. But I don't like to eat the skins because I'm not sure if these are organic or not, and pesticides get trapped in the skins. Also, there's a lot of arginine in the skins, which can cause issues if you're sensitive to arginine. If you're not, leave them on. There is also some positive nutritional value to the skins. Just your preference. I'm just trying to show you an easy way to de-skin them, peel them if you will, that doesn't require a peeler at all. So, hope that helps. Now that I got those boiled potatoes all peeled, there's 2 in there, and I put Mrs. Dash, a little bit of this spray, which is liquid aminos, just so that stuff will stick to it, and I'll sprinkle some nutritional yeast flakes on it from Bragg's. They're both from Bragg's. And it's going to eat with no fat. Tastes delicious. I put the others that I peeled in the fridge so that they can cool. They're in here. They can cool down and become resistant starch. I've got some chips in the oven here. When they cool, I'll pull them out, I'll put them in a container, and they'll go in the fridge too so they can cool and create more resistant starch. These I didn't. I'm hungry. I don't have any prep, so I'm just going to eat these 2, and they're hot straight out of that pot that you saw earlier. So that and my water. We go to Taco Bell together, and because we're on the potato diet, obviously. And she's like, "So, what are we going to do?" Because we normally go and have something to eat together. But I think, have you already eaten?
Yeah, I had potatoes.
So she's had her potato serving so far. I ate like 30 minutes ago. I'm not really hungry, but so we're gonna go to Starbucks and just chill in there because at least it gets me out of my work environment. And I've also, I didn't mention this at the beginning of the video, but I also stopped doing as much. I say as much. I tried to quit caffeine altogether, but I haven't completely quit. I just quit doing as much. I usually have a cup of something on the weekends, and I don't mind doing that. Just having a little bit on the weekends and try to keep it so that I'm not like all the time wanting that caffeine hit. So I'm gonna go to Starbucks and probably get a decaffeinated something. I don't know, just for the ritual of it. But yeah, that's one of the things that I didn't think about for this 14 days of potatoes only is the whole, I guess, the procedure. You know, it interrupts your normal, and I'm not even eating on a scheduled time. Typically, you know, it's like I look at the clock and it's like it's 8 o'clock, it's time to have breakfast. But I wasn't really hungry at 8 o'clock, so it was 9 until I ate something, like 9:30, 9:15. And there's no real, it breaks your preconceived Pavlov's dog reaction to time on the clock. You'll just eat whenever you feel like eating, I guess. It seems like, I feel like in the evening I want to snack more though. Last night I was craving ice cream. I just wanted, I had visions of ice cream in my head, and we had made some sweet potatoes and put cinnamon on it, and it was just like eating a pumpkin pie. It was so good. So, I'm not proud of it, but it is what it is. I just went to McDonald's and I've got a large Sprite and a medium fry. I know it's technically violating the potato diet, but I'm late for practice. Prep is the key. You have to prep often and well beforehand, because if you wait, you'll be stuck, and I'm stuck. So this is technically a cheat meal. This is day 4. Otherwise, I've been pretty good. I'm not gonna lie though. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Okay, so I'm in day 5 of the potato diet right now, and there's a couple of things that I've learned. One of them is I don't think I understood why the potato hack works, and I come to find out that it's because of resistant starch. So potatoes in a raw state are high in resistant starch. When you cook them, it makes the starch digestible. So when the starch is digestible, you get normal amounts of carbs. Whenever they become resistant starch, which is either before they're cooked or after they cool down. So you can cook them, but then you need to let them cool, like overnight. Preferably what you want to do is prepare your big batch or whatever, let them cool in the fridge, and then take them to work and eat them throughout the day. Which I used to reheat them and thinking that was still okay, but actually when they get hot, then it makes the starch digestible and it's not resistant. And that's what gives you the ability to feel full, and it won't extract as many calories out of it. So you want to keep it in a resistant state. So ideally you won't reheat it at all. You'll cook it just so that it makes it palatable, and then you'll store it, and then you'll eat it cold after you pull it out of the fridge. Now I find that golden potatoes, this is one of my tips, golden potatoes and maybe even red potatoes are the easiest to eat cold simply, which means I boil them in the big pot, and then I skin them, and then I put them in the fridge, and then I'll take one to my plate and I'll mash it apart, or quarter it up with my fork, and then I'll put my spices over it, and it doesn't taste too bad. Now, my wife makes some cubed potatoes that she skins. She essentially does the same thing I do, boils them, but then she cubes them, and then she bakes them with spices, shaken in spices like onion. I think it's onion, salt, pepper, and a little bit of nutritional yeast. And she'll shake it and then bake it, and it's nice. It's like a tater tot, but it's reheated. It's heated at that point. And whenever they get cold, I'll show you a picture of some in a minute because I have some left over. But those are not really enjoyable when they're in their cold state. So I don't like to eat those cold, and so I'm making those kind of like a snack more than the main dish. Okay, so stats-wise, in the 4 days that we followed it almost pretty strictly, my wife lost 4 pounds. Like she went, but her diet wasn't extremely clean. It was not too bad. I'd say 50-50. And mine was a cleaner diet. I just ate a little more calories. But she went to 4 pounds of loss in 4 days. So she's averaging a pound a day from the get-go, out of the gate. But she's had a couple side effects. And one of her side effects was she had headaches terribly the first day and the second day. And she come to realize that because you're supposed to really only drink water, coffee, or tea on this potato period, but she always put this drink mix in her drink, and it had some chemical. I know that Ace K is one of the chemicals in that drink. It's essentially, she uses the Arnold Palmer water flavor drinks. Whatever it is, there's sucralose. There's some type of chemical that she's become addicted to and didn't realize it because she puts it in her water every day. So it helps you discover things that you may be addicted to and not realize. So she had headaches, and then she started just adding that drink mix back in, and she's okay now, but she couldn't function. She had to leave work early, had migraines. Another thing is that both of us experienced, I didn't experience it until the 4th day, which was a Sunday for me, and I had to go mow the grass. So the potato hack tells you to only do like walking, not a bunch of strenuous activity. And mowing the yard is kind of strenuous for me, so it's enough to pull the blood sugar out of my system. And I have reactive hypoglycemia, if you recall from my prior video, so I know the symptoms. I started to feel shaky, I started to feel bad. I don't have diabetes. I checked my blood glucose and it was 66. It was low. She experienced something similar. The reason now that I've dug a little bit more into it is because the reactive starch breaks down very, very slow. It's like complex polysaccharides, whereas simple sugars and more fruit and sugars like that are quicker to become sugar for your blood. So when you eat resistant starch, apparently you don't have as much bioavailable sugar floating in your blood. So you don't want to really be strenuous, because it'll demand more sugar from your blood, which it doesn't replenish the sugar fast enough. You get the glycemic index for these cold potatoes is very low for resistant starch, but you get a steady flow of sugar, but it's a small amount of sugar because it's having trouble extracting it from resistant starch. So my tip is, definitely don't do anything too strenuous. I'm at work and I pick stuff up and I put it down. I'm not in a laborious job though. So if you're in a laborious job, you want to do this maybe a limited amount of days over the weekend when you can not be pushing yourself. Or I had to drink a can of soda. I drank a Sierra Mist because I'm trying to not do caffeine either. So like Sprite, stuff that doesn't have caffeine. I drank a Sierra Mist and it picked me right back up and I was okay. If you know that you're going to be trying this potato hack and you have a physically demanding day, you might want to have just a little bit of sugar on hand, some type of clean sugar, because again, the resistant starch goes slowly into your system to provide sugar, and you'll have a fast draw from your exertion and you won't have it replenished fast enough, and your blood sugar might dip. Even if you're completely healthy and you don't have any diabetic condition at all, or pre-diabetes or anything like that, or reactive hypoglycemia, if you just have your normal, your blood sugar is going to go low. You're not going to have the normal supply that you do from typical carbs. So there's a tip. I'm going to show you an example of the carbs that I'm talking about when my wife cubes these up, and these aren't good cold, so I'm going to heat these up. Here's the example. The cubed potatoes that she did, and then she spiced up and shook them in whatever spices you choose to use, shook them up, baked them, and they become crispy like tater tots. So I'm going to eat these, but you better believe they've been microwaved. Now when these get out, I'll peel them, because like I showed you earlier, the peel just falls off, and then I will leave them whole, and I'll stick them in a big Tupperware container like that, and I'll take it to work. I'll let it be in the fridge overnight. Tomorrow I'll eat them just like that, but I'll use my fork and mash them into quarters or whatever, maybe even eighths. Doesn't matter, however you want to do it. Okay, so I've learned a few things that I've been reading more into the potato diet, the potato hack, written by Steele, and did a little bit of more extra research of my own, and have come to a few conclusions, theories, if you will. So resistant starch is the key to why people lose weight on this diet. In the 60s, there was a farmer who started feeding his pigs a bunch of raw potatoes, and come to find out that the pigs would lose weight when they ate the raw potatoes, but they would gain weight or at least not lose weight if they ate cooked potatoes. And the reason they discovered was the resistant starch factor. Whenever potatoes are raw, and some other foods, they have resistant starch, which doesn't go completely through your system the way normal foods do. They're almost harder to break down, if you will, and somewhat impossible to break down on some levels. They get down to your large intestines, and they'll end up there fermenting and feeding your gut bacteria, which results in gas, is why you fart a bunch whenever you're doing the potatoes with resistant starch. So there's a couple of theories, but out there the consensus is that whenever you cook them first, that breaks down their fiber and makes them easily digestible, and then you don't eat them whenever they're hot. Put them in the fridge and let them become resistant starch, and then when you eat them, they're going to be more of the weight loss factor, because it's hard for your body to pull calories out of it, and so therefore you're using other energy source, which is probably fat, I'm assuming. In that aspect, it might even be considered ketogenic, but I haven't tested my ketones when I'm on this, and I'm not going to. I don't think that that's completely true, but it could be. I have no idea. I'm not a doctor or a nutritionist. But I have found out, so last week, I'm basically 8 days into it at this point. This is Saturday for me, and I started last Friday. When I first started, I never did let them cool down because I hadn't read that yet, and my wife started losing weight immediately, and I didn't. It took me a couple of days, but I'm actually down 4 pounds. And she's down like 5 pounds, and she was down 5 pounds almost immediately, like 2 pounds, 4 pounds, 5 pounds. So it took me a while, but I am down about 5 pounds. At first, though, my energy levels were really good. Like, I can't tell you how the food got bland fast. And now it's just eaten out of necessity to live. They're not good, they're not bad, they're just food. I do salt, pepper, and sometimes put nutritional yeast on mine because I like this. Not a ton, just a little to give it some flavor. And occasionally we'll squirt it with liquid aminos. But, and also some of the Mrs. Dash. I like that blue Mrs. Dash. It's garlic and herb season. But initially I would eat them hot and I would have a ton of energy. Just felt like I was energy all day long. I'd go until it's time to go to bed. Energy, energy, energy. Second thing, sleep cycle, but back to that in a minute. So then after I learned about letting them recool, so you cook your potatoes, you put them in the fridge, you let them cool overnight, you take them out the next day. You don't heat them up, you eat them cold. Why? Because when they get heated, they lose the majority of the resistant starch quality, and then they're easy to digest, and then you get normal carbohydrates, normal sugar pulled out of it, and keeps your blood sugar. Sometimes it could spike it because of the influx of a lot of carbs, but when you do resistant starch, that doesn't happen. And in fact, something the opposite happens. This is how I found out. So that Sunday, after I think I discovered this on Friday, Saturday, and that Sunday, I was mowing the yard, which isn't a lot of energy output, but a little more than typical, and I felt a low blood sugar attack come on because I'm hypoglycemic. So I'm not diabetic, but occasionally I'll have bouts of low blood sugar, hypoglycemia, based on what I'm doing, or if I ate a lot of fat and then I ate sugar, and then my body released a lot of insulin because of the excess sugar in my blood, and then it dropped my overall sugar too low. That's not what happened here. I hadn't eaten any fat. This potato diet is very low fat. It's low fat and high carb, essentially. But what happened was, since they're resistant in that state, my body, they're not releasing a ton of blood sugar. They're releasing a trickle of blood sugar constantly, all day long, a trickle of blood sugar. And if you're just on the computer or doing normal work, that's going to be enough. But if you exert yourself, which is why you're told to not really exercise hard on this diet, you're told to do walking's okay, moderate stuff, your normal job. If you have a tough job, a very high energy demand job, I wouldn't do this. I'd do this on the weekends, or I wouldn't eat them cooled. I would eat them hot so that you can digest them and break the sugars down more easy and faster so that you use them because you need them. So I got low blood sugar, and I know this because I have one of those finger sticks, and I checked my blood, and it was at 66. Now, granted, the prior day I checked it just to see what the potatoes are doing to me, and they were normal. That's when I was eating them hot, cooked, and that was 135, 150 was my blood sugar, and it's green, and that's good. When I checked it after mowing the yard, I was shaky. I felt terrible. I could feel something coming on. I felt it before. I checked my blood, and it was 66, and I was like, God, this is too low. So I had to get basically a can of soda, drink it, and in 10 minutes I felt good. So there you go, a sugar cube, whatever people take. So here's what one of the conclusions I come to. I don't know if the reactive resistant starch, non-resistant quality stays. I don't know. I haven't done enough experimentation or seen enough data for it. So I will tell you though that after I started eating them cold all the time, at the end of my 8-hour shift, I'd come home and be tired and need to take a nap. Prior, I was not when I was eating hot potatoes all day. So I think for the sake of, I don't want to feel tired, I want to stay energized all day, I think I'm going to start eating them hot, reheat them, eat them hot again. I don't know if it's going to make a difference. I'll watch what happens over this next, what do I have left, 6 days, and see if I maintain or lose or gain weight. We'll know. I've lost 5 pounds at this point. No, 4. 4 pounds at this point. I've lost 4 pounds. I'm not going to change my eating habits. We will know at the end of my trial period if that affects your weight loss or not. So that's something I'm going to do from today going forward. The second major thing I found, I no longer require as much sleep as I used to. Now, when I was eating prior to the potato diet, I was eating what I considered a good diet, a pescatarian, which is a vegetarian that also eats fish and eggs. So I was eating pescatarian, hardly ever junk food. I mean, occasionally, but I'd say 85 to 90% of my day, I was eating a good, quote-unquote, healthy diet. Just a lot of calories. I don't lose weight because I don't exercise adequately and I eat a little bit more calories than I should, but the food's healthy. So my blood work, my heart, everything's usually good. Sugar, protein, all of it. My blood work's always good. So I would normally need to go to sleep around, if my alarm goes off at 4:30 a.m. So around 10 o'clock I need to be drifting off, and that means I would sleep approximately 6.5 hours. Alarm goes off, I'd snooze it a few times, get up, be okay. Lately, on this potatoes only, I have been not needing to go to bed, not even sleepy enough until almost midnight, 11:40, 11:30, midnight. Go to bed and be like, hey, man, while you're doing this, you got to get up in 4.5 hours. But I will wake up at 4 o'clock and be wide awake, not in a pissed off, when you wake up too early and you're pissed off and you have the headache and your body's like, why are you awake? I get up and I'm like, I'm awake, it's awesome, I have energy, I go to work and I'm ready, and I'm like not wishing that I'd slept more. So the only reason I'm tired in the afternoon is from the blood sugar thing, is my theory, and I'm going to test that this week and just eat them hot and see if I have constant sugar all day. And I'll let you know at the end of this 2-week experiment. But I need less sleep. I'm drinking essentially water. I do put these stir in my water, which is stevia as the sweetener because there's no really sugar and it doesn't spike your glycemic index. Stir and fruit juice is all this is made of. It doesn't have maltodextrose. It doesn't have any of those oses or aspartame. I love that stuff. I'm a huge advocate. I buy that all the time. They have them at Walmart now. I used to buy them on Amazon, but they're actually a little bit cheaper on Walmart. So my water's boiling over here with potatoes. I got to cook more potatoes. Constantly cooking potatoes. So that is 2 major things that I've discovered on this week of experimenting with potatoes only. I have cheated on this diet. I have cheated. I think I filmed a segment that I'm going to put in this video. But and it's funny, the second time I cheated, it was also, we went to a bar and grill, and I had 2 glasses of beer. I had 2 cans last night too, so I've had 4 beers on this thing. And when we went to the pub, I had some seasoned fries, of course, cooked in batter and grease and salted, and I dipped them in cheese dip. So, but that's all. I would say that I've had 95 to 98% sticking strictly to this diet. And it's not been bad. Like I said, it's bland. It's the same thing all the time, and I don't look forward to eating except for to satisfy a hunger. But as far as the, oh my God, I can't wait to taste that pizza or that cheeseburger, which I don't eat cheeseburgers, but I do eat the Impossible Burger from Burger King. If they want to throw me some sponsorships or some coupons, it's wonderful. That Impossible Whopper tastes just like a Whopper. Anyways, it's been good. So far, it has been good. Even the author of the Potato Hack, Tim Steele, we downloaded his book and read his theories and his ideas. He doesn't recommend, humans aren't meant to digest resistant starch on a regular basis. It probably would kill you, honestly, because I don't think you can get enough calories in the easily digestible sugar release format to keep our bodies going. So, but as far as a hack and as far as to do it temporarily to lose weight, I think that it's great. And it does, it's cleared my taste palate. It's cleared my cravings. I can't say nothing but good things at this point, except for the warning. If you have a demanding job, physically demanding, cook the potatoes. Don't eat them cold. If you're going to be okay to have an office job and sit around and maybe you're taking a week or 2 off, so don't do extraneous exercise, do moderate walk kind of stuff. And you can go ahead and cool them down and eat them in the resistant factor. But that's something you'll want to know. If you start to feel shaky and weird and almost like a fever's coming on and just strange, anxiety goes up, you feel nervous, can of soda. Have a can of soda on hand or anything sugary like that ready to go. So that is major and something that I've learned in the middle of this. I'm going to film more, so there'll be more to come. Hey guys, so I know that video. In the video I stated that I was going to do the potato diet for, I think, for 2 weeks. I started having a little bit of some personal things that were happening in my life that made me stop doing it. Plans got messed up, but you know how it goes. I would say though, as a good summary for how did it go, I ended up losing a little bit over a pound a day. Average is what it averaged out to be. My wife ended up losing a decent amount of weight. After, I think you hit a diminishing return period too, unless you're just not doing it right. And maybe I wasn't doing it right. I do stuff like this. I do fasts. I'll do only water. I mean, I just do strange things to see if I can help something or improve an issue in my life. And I do that all the time. I'm pretty much an experimental case, using myself as the subject. Sometimes my wife does the things too, but a lot of times she doesn't, because I have a lot of weird ideas out there. I'm going to make a couple of videos on some of the other things that I've tried before. But I gave this potato diet a shot. I think that it's probably a beneficial program. It probably helps people eliminate some of their dependencies on. Really, you could do that with almost anything, I think. I think you could probably mono eat or simplify your food greatly for a week or two and help you get grounded back into a normal, healthy plan. If you kind of feel like your eating habits going out of control, it might be beneficial to do that. I take multivitamins, so I was never worried about not having adequate nutrients. As a VSG patient, I'm going to have to for the rest of my life regardless. So, you know, I pretty much could do just water, and at least for nutrients, I should be getting all the nutrients through my multivitamin. So, anyways, I'm going to wrap this up. I know it was already a long enough video. Hope you enjoyed that. Still have a lot of ideas for new content that I'll be working on. See you guys next video.